Pats Nation, welcome back into another post-game show here on the Patriots Global Channel. As always, with my boy Rob, also known as Patriots7 on Instagram, handle right below his name right there. So make sure you guys go ahead and give him a follow on Instagram for the best damn Patriots content on Instagram. But here to recap everything that happened in Week 12, New England Patriots back on the road after a mini bye after their Thursday night football game against the New York Jets there in Week 11, where they come out with a win. And they come out with the win. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Game finishes 26-20. But I think you hear it in my tone. I think you hear it in Rob's tone. I think you're going to hear this just throughout Patriots media in general this week. And that's the fact that it's a win, but in a lot of ways, it does feel like a moral loss. And look, you want to be able to win these games. And I'd rather take a game where we win and we kind of take things that we can do better and move forward to kind of be able to address those things. But this game was a lot closer than it needed to be. There's a lot of concerns with this football team moving forward that showcase themselves today. There was a lot of injuries that showcase themselves. Play calling on both sides of the football was certainly concerning too. And so, you guys have heard a lot of my thoughts. We're going to recap those thoughts. We're going to get into a lot of that and so much more in today's episode. But what we haven't heard is just, where is Rob after this game? Rob, are you kind of under the mindset of, look, it is what it is. It doesn't matter. We won. Let's move forward. Or are you kind of under the same mindset as me to where it's a good thing we won, but I'm concerned?
I'm extremely concerned, and considering that the Bengals defense is one of the worst defenses ever in terms of DVOA. Like, they were the worst ever. So this is a team that could be got on defense, and we just we couldn't get out of our own way. But I will say this real quick, because I know we're going to dive more into this. This was the Bengals Super Bowl today. And I don't mean that to be condescending. I mean it as this is their season on the line. Joe Burrow's not 100% healthy. They lose this game. They have absolutely no shot of making the playoffs. I know that sounds like a far-fetched idea, 3-7 team having a playoff trip, but they basically gave us their best punch.
Yeah, I mean, look, if the Bengals won this game today, the percentage wasn't high, but if they did win the game,
it's not impossible.
They had a 2% chance. They would have had a 2% chance of making the postseason. Given the way that the AFC is kind of showcasing itself right now, no, Rob, you're right. It's not impossible at all. You have the Patriots and the Colts and the Broncos that were
Texans,
Bills at the top, and now you have teams that are in the hunt. Yeah, you have the Texans, you have the Chiefs, like all these teams that are in the hunt that are the same record. It's not unrealistic to say that if the Bengals won this game, they could have been in it because you're getting Joe Burrow back next week against the Ravens, and if the Bengals beat the Ravens, that helps their postseason chances tremendously. And so after today's loss, they do have less than a 1% chance, but Rob, on the positive side of things, the Patriots did get to double-digit wins now on the season. They are currently 10-2. For whatever it is worth, they are at the top of the AFC because the Broncos are on a bye week. So at least for the next week, the Patriots, we're number one in the AFC. We'll be number two, and the Broncos, of course, do come back here next week. But this is the best record. This is the best streak that we've seen the Patriots go on since 2015, now that they have won 9 straight. But I want to talk about the storyline of today because there's a lot of things you can take away, and there's a lot of things we did take away that we will talk about, but the injuries have to be the main focus. You had Brendan Schooler go out in this game, and I don't really think anybody talked about it because of the amount of injuries that happened. He goes out of this game. He does not return. You have Jared Wilson go out on the first offensive series. He gets carted off. He does not return. They list him as out pretty early on in the game. Later on in the game, you have Will Campbell go down in the game. He has to get a cart brought out. He goes into the blue 10. Right, he's crying. He has the towel put on over his face. You had Kyrie's Tonga leave at one point in the game. I do believe he ultimately did return. And I think there might be one other person, Rob. If
Morgan Moses,
right. He left.
But he returned.
Then he returned. Ironically, he goes down on the play. Looks like he's dealing with something physical. Then the broadcast tells us it's nothing physical. Morgan Moses is just dealing with an illness. He did ultimately end up returning to the game. And so a lot of injuries piling up here for New England. The big one, obviously, that started all of this was Milton Williams, who was placed on injured reserve after the Jets game. He's going to be missing at minimum the next 4 games. And so, Rob, what are your thoughts on the injuries that occurred today? What is your concern level with the injuries that occurred today? And are you scared that injuries are now piling up for the Pats?
I'm not really scared as the injuries are piling up. I just think the effect of what's happening because of those injuries. I mean, Milton Williams was so sorely missed today. We gave up 100 yards for the first time all season. I mean, this run defense now looks like there's a hole, and hopefully Kyrus Tonga's good, and that way we'll have him back for next week. But and on top of that, you go and look at, like, if there's going to be significant injuries on this offensive line, you're going to go against a team like the New York Giants next week that has a hell of a pass rush. So, I mean, these things are definitely concerning. But I think Josh McDaniels will scheme up something to kind of alleviate some of those things. But it is starting to, like, pile up, and I think that's just too much tread. There's barely any tread on the tires right now. We really are just kind of getting by to get to that bye week, and then once we get to that bye week, all we really have to do is get to that bye week. You'll see players start to really heal up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest concern definitely has to be, Will Campbell, just because that's a guy that makes such a massive, massive impact on the field for the Patriots and even off the field. A true leader. He's a guy that I think by 2026 is going to be a captain for the Patriots offense. Drake Maye alluding to after the game that Will Campbell really is like his best friend. And Will Campbell, from a run blocking standpoint, pass blocking standpoint, has been one of the best tackles in the league. But more specifically, he's been the best tackle amongst the 2025 draft class amongst the tackle position. And we saw, I'm going to try to pull this up here real quick. We did see that he went to the sideline when getting checked out and then got carted off and then puts the towel over his face because he was getting emotional. And so, was he emotional because he knows something we don't? Was he emotional because of the pain? Is it a combination of both? Possibly. But when a player does get carted off like this, when they do go down and they're on the field with players kneeling around them, these are never good signs. And so, Rob, kicking it off here with Will Campbell, obviously, neither of us are doctors. Unfortunately, Rob, too, we didn't even get to see what exactly happened on the play that he got injured because the stupid broadcast didn't do a replay. They didn't show us. In fact, we didn't even know Will Campbell was injured until they panned over and there were 4 different Patriots taking a knee around him. So we don't know exactly what the injury was that happened here, but we do know that it is a knee injury. He was never listed out, like, officially for the game, which, if you want to try to take away a good sign, that is a good sign that, yes, he went to the locker room. He never returned, but he was always questionable. He was never listed as out. Do you look at this injury and say maybe he comes back, or do you look at this injury and say, I don't have a good feeling about this?
I'm kind of on the fence with both, man, because the one thing that you did mention that was kind of, I was trying to see if you saw it, like, they had him at questionable and it was for like a good amount of time. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's not that bad, because usually if it's like a torn ACL or something, knock on wood.
Yeah.
If it's something like that, they'll rule him out like immediately. But it took them a little while to rule him out. So I think that at least is something as their saving grace. Obviously, he's gotten injured. He's a very passionate, very driven player that wants to be able to be out there to protect for the team and help be a contributor to winning these football games. And being that he got injured, I mean, I can understand why he's upset. He got hurt, and he feels like if say we would have dropped this game, I guarantee he would have blamed himself a little bit. So I'm not gonna go and think negatively. I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. I'm gonna continue to be positive, because you never know. It could be one thing, and then the MRI comes back and it's clear. Not clear, but it's not as bad as what you think.
Yeah, I agree. I think the fact that he was questionable and never listed as out for the remainder of the game, I think that's usually a good sign, as where you see somebody like Jared Wilson. And Jared Wilson went out early in the game, and so they had definitely more time to look at him. You could definitely give that excuse, but he was listed out. Now, he was originally questionable, then he was just listed as out for the remainder of the game. Now, reports did see him after the conclusion of this game, and they said that he was in a walking boot leaving the locker room, but not just in a walking boot. On top of that, he was also having kind of like a cane to help him walk a little bit. And so things certainly aren't looking good there. What are your thoughts on the Jared Wilson injury, and do you think that this could be something that impacts the Patriots long term?
Same thing that comes with Campbell. I'm not going to go in. I mean, we've seen players wear walking boots. It's not the end of the world. It's just really to just protect the leg. If it's not to be, I guess not empathetic with Jared Wilson, but God forbid we don't have him. We do have a solid backup in Ben Brown. So it's not completely a loss. But I'm really do hoping I am really hoping that he's okay. Obviously, they're going to give him a walking boot. They're going to give him some type of thing that will help him walk on it, because these injuries, man, like if you don't use the preventative measures, it could have a trickle down effect, and you can have even more problems.
Yeah, I agree. I would say right now, and obviously we don't know a whole lot, so this is going off very limited information, but I would say I'm more worried about the long-term outlook with Jared Wilson compared to Will Campbell. The way that Drake Maye was talking about Will Campbell after the game too, just kind of alluding to like he'll be fine, he'll be back, all this. Maybe Drake Maye is just doing the quarterback thing, and maybe he's just being nonchalant about it, or maybe he
I don't
knows
know about
something.
that, man. I don't know about that. I think he probably has some idea of what it may be. He wouldn't just be that unaware or that like, I guess, not emotionally attached, and kind of dismissive of it. I think that, look, like I said, Will Campbell's a very, very fiery guy. We seen what he said during the pre-draft process of saying, or at the draft, where he basically said he would risk his own life for Drake Maye. He's a rookie. He's still trying to get his legs under him. And he had his first injury as an NFL starter. So obviously he's going to beat himself up.
Yeah, yeah. So I would say I'm more worried right now with the limited information about the long-term outlook for Will Campbell compared to Jared Wilson. I would say who's the bigger loss? If it does come down to it, it is 100% Will Campbell compared to Jared Wilson. Now, both those guys are very important to this offensive line, especially because of the communication, the chemistry between those guys, between them and Drake Maye. And so even if Will Campbell does return and Jared Wilson doesn't, now you're working with Ben Brown at left guard and Will Campbell at left tackle, and they haven't worked together a whole lot. And so that's, a situation in and of itself. But I do think that in terms of who's more valuable to this team right now, it's definitely Will Campbell. So praying for the best for both of those guys, but definitely hoping that, if it comes down to it, Will Campbell is the guy that you get back. There is currently no update on Will Campbell in terms of that knee injury. No one saw him in the locker room after to say, is he in a walking boot? Is he in crutches? Anything like that. As for Brendan Schooler, he was reported to be seen in a walking boot leaving the locker room. And so that is something to, of course, monitor. And then as for the other guys, there, of course, is no update on that either. Patriots will be having a little bit of extra time to get healthy for that Giants game too before the bye week. That is a Monday night football game. And so it's also at Gillette Stadium. So they'll have a little bit of extra time to try to get healthy, but it certainly will not be a whole lot. But just any other last thoughts about the injuries here for the Patriots?
I think one thing to note that obviously Vidarian Lowe is up next as far as left tackles go. And Ben Brown's going to fill that role, I think, relatively easily. I think people don't understand how bad the coaching staff and just everything was last year. Vidarian Lowe may look one way under a whatever that was last year. He may actually look decent because there was several games where he gave 4 or 5 seconds, like a lot of time to Drake Maye. So he may look. If I'm the Patriots, I don't play Campbell for like another 2 weeks if he is okay, and you just get by against the Giants with Vidarian Lowe.
Yeah, my thing is that if these are long-term injuries, okay, like these are things that are going to keep them out for the rest of the year. If that is the case, then I think that does have a massive trickle-down effect on the team to where I think they could make a deep playoff run if they are healthy. But if the injury bug is going to start to bite the Patriots right now, you're losing Milton Williams, if you lose Will Campbell, if you lose Jared Wilson, then I do believe that really will limit what the Patriots can do in the postseason. And we cannot diminish, we cannot downplay what these injuries mean. I say this all the time. I'm iconic for saying it here on the channel. I'll continue to say it. The offensive line is like the engine to a car. If the engine to your car is messed up, go ahead, get your car wrapped. Go ahead, put the dial on the dashboard. Make your car look sexy. Guess what? Ain't nobody going to care if your car is idle, if your car can't move because the engine's messed up. And the offensive line is responsible for all offensive production. Whether you're talking about running the football, whether you're talking about passing the football, that all starts with the blockers up front. And this New England Patriots team, Drake Maye, they love to push the football down the field. Like that is the DNA of Drake Maye in this offense. But guess what? You need time. You need blocking to fire the football down the field, especially with accuracy. And we saw last year, if Drake Maye doesn't have that, you're not going to be getting a whole lot down the field. And that's exactly what this offense is built upon. And for a team like the Patriots that's already struggled with running the football, if you're going to lose your entire left side of the offensive line, which is where the Patriots primarily like to run, and you're going to put in Vidarian Lowe and Ben Brown, I agree with you. I think from a pass blocking standpoint, it might not look as bad as some people are projecting it to be. But I think where the massive hit is going to be felt, it's going to be in the run game, because the Patriots have already struggled there. Now you're downgrading with your blockers in the running game. Now you're losing your best blockers on the O-line in the rushing attack. That's only going to make this significantly worse. And I think that certainly will have a trickle-down effect. But Rob, kind of moving forward here, what were your thoughts on just the play calling from Josh McDaniels, but also the play calling from a defensive standpoint?
So a little personal story. My wife actually, she just started watching football with me, and now she's starting to like really watch the games, and it's crazy. Like she was calling oh, holding this, and I had to do a double take. I was like, who were you with before me? But
Something you want to tell me?
But yeah, I was like, something you want to tell me? By the way, guys, she did predict the last two scores to the T of the Jets game and today's game. So I hopefully she could predict this next one and blow out match. I'm going to record her next time. But she was able to like look at the screen and she's like, why are you running the same? And this is coming from I would say a casual perspective. Why are you running it up the middle 100 times and expecting a different outcome? Like that. She's like, why? She's like, why don't we run it this way, run it that way? I was like, babe, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Like on the goal line, why are we running it with Ramondre on? And it just it didn't. Why? And if she's able to see that, that's concerning, because it's very vanilla play calling. At times, it feels like we kind of just take our foot off the gas pedal. This is, like I said, this is a terrible defense we went against. I don't care if this was their Super Bowl or not. This game should not have been close. And for one, I am happy we have 10 wins. I'm not happy with the outcome of this game. I really am not. And it's not even just from an injury perspective. I just think that this is where you got to start playing your best football, and we're just not.
Yeah, I was really just as disappointed with the play calling and just the situational football today that I was anything else. And I think that's why I feel as defeated with this win as probably any other win this season, is because you are going up against the worst defense in the National Football League in the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a game where we thought Drake Maye could throw for 300 plus yards. We thought that this was an opportunity where they could have provided their fourth blowout of the season. And look, wins are hard to come by. Wins are any given week. And I think as fans, sometimes we get this in our minds of, well, the New England Patriots are, a playoff caliber team. They're one of the best teams in the league. They're arguably the hottest team in football right now, going up against a 3-win Bengals team. So with that mindset in mind, we should be able to blow them out right now. And that's not how football works. It obviously is any given week. And blowouts are, wins are hard to come by in and of themselves. Blowouts are even harder to come by. And so maybe we thought a little bit too much of this game, but it just felt like, no, there was the opportunity for Drake Maye to go for 300 plus yards. This was an opportunity for you to easily put up 30, even 40 points in this game, but it's because you were shooting yourselves in the foot that it wasn't. I mean, making the Bengals look like they're playing a lot better than they were. And I mean, if you look at it, they had a lot of players out. You didn't have Jamar Chase on offense, who obviously didn't have Trey Hendrickson. They also were dealing with a lot of injuries throughout this game, just like the Patriots were. And that's where we wanted this offense to be able to kind of take advantage of those injuries and take advantage of bad football. And they just were not able to do so. I mean, coming into this game, the Patriots were 14 of 16 on fourth down conversions. And on multiple different occasions in this game, they were not able to do anything on the 1 yard line, in large part because of things stalling out. Now, here's what I will say, okay? Some of it was definitely stale play calling. Some of it was also Drake Maye struggling. We're going to talk about Drake Maye here shortly when we start getting into each position. But there was also times where, I believe that was on the fourth down calls, their first fourth down on the 1 yard line. And it was an option for Drake Maye to either pass the football or hand it off to, I believe it was Ramondre Stevenson. If he passed the football, he had Hunter Henry wide open in the end zone, but he elected to hand the football off to Ramondre Stevenson. That one does not come down to the play calling. That specifically goes on Drake Maye. But again, like we alluded to, there were just several times where the play calling was very, very rugged. Even if we want to talk about what the defense was doing, the Patriots were able to extend their lead from 4 to 7 right before halftime. They had their own 2-minute drill. They strung it together. They were using up as much time as they possibly could. And they got to a situation where it was, are you going to go for it? Or are you just going to kick the points to extend your lead to 7? Because the Bengals get the ball back to start the third quarter. And the Patriots said, we're just going to take the 3. And we're going to trust Andy Borregales to put us up by 7. And that's exactly what they did. They kicked the football off, and the Bengals are close to taking it to the house. They get across the 50, but then there's a penalty because of holding on the Bengals. Now the ball gets brought back to the 18-yard line, and we say there's 22 seconds left on the clock. They got, what, 1 timeout left? I think it was at that point. It was either 1 timeout or 0 timeouts left.
28 seconds.
Or 28 seconds, excuse me. And so we said,
1 timeout, I think.
Line. You're at the 18-yard line. This should not be a situation where you allow them to score any type of points. Just go into halftime with your 7-point lead. What happens? You allow them to have a 15-yard run with Chase Brown. After that, you allow them to have like another 15, 16-yard reception by, I believe it was T. Higgins. And
it
then
was
you allow
T. Higgins.
them for an opportunity to have a 63-yard field goal. Now, look, 63 yards is far. There's not a lot of kickers that are making it at 63. But Evan McPherson is one of the best kickers in the league. And it shouldn't have even been a point where you were playing so much prevent that you allowed them to get into field goal position in the first place. And so then what do? They attempt the 63-yard field goal. It's good. And now you wiped away all of the progress you made by the Andy Borregales field goal. What you just did on the drive before to extend yourself from 4 to 7, now that cancels out because it doesn't matter. And now instead of going into halftime with Cincy getting the ball to start the third quarter and you're up by 7, now you're only up by 4. Because you didn't know how to manage the clock correctly, because your defense could not do its job, and you were protecting everything over the top to make sure they didn't get into the end zone, to where you didn't care at the fact that you allowed them to do whatever they wanted to get chunk play after chunk play to go down the field and get 3 points, which could have proved to be very pivotal at the end of the game. Any other thoughts about that, Rob?
Yeah, it was just like, I don't understand why we were playing so far off the line of scrimmage. I think that, what is it, the cat covers that we've been talking about so damn much? Davis had a hell of a game. Gonzo, yeah, he kind of rough of a game, but like, I got to talk about up until that point, our defense was pretty damn good. So why play so far off and give them all these chunk plays where they can have the opportunity to get in field goal range? I think that like that can come back to bite us in the ass. I didn't like it. It was 28 seconds left. They had 1 timeout. There's absolutely no reason why you need to play so much off of them. I mean, what, Gonzo and Davis were like 10 yards off the line of scrimmage? That's just unnecessary. I get it. You're not trying to have the over-the-top play, but like, when did they really show all game that they were going to get that type of play? Like, I would have just trust our corners to actually do their job.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't have played cover 1, probably would have played cover 2, 2 eye safety.
Cover 2 easily.
I
like
would
that.
have just played man-to-man at that point. Because when they were playing man-to-man, they were doing well. But they were so busy playing prevent that it didn't matter. They were so busy saying, just don't let them get the touchdown, that you allowed them to get the field goal, and it wiped away your Andy Borregales field goal.
At the end of the day, points are points. I don't care if it's a field goal or it's a touchdown. They had the ball going into the third quarter. So if not for the 3 and out, this could have been like really bad. But you can't do that. Like I think that like we should have stuck where our gut and really play close to them. And I don't care. Like, if they get a chunk play off that, so be it. I doubt it. I really doubt it, because up until that point, they really didn't get much. So why play so far off the line of scrimmage and give them the opportunity to just basically get just dotting us up? Like, I just it pissed me off, because I'm like, what was it, 4th and 1 or 4th and goal when? Or did we kick a field goal? I can't remember offhand.
Which time?
So when they were marching the ball down with 28 seconds, was it after we kicked the field goal?
It was after we kicked the field goal, because we were up by 4, so that put us up by 7.
Yeah, that's when we were trying to do a dummy count and try to catch them offsides.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like conservative play calling and aggressive play calling can sometimes be you got to kind of find a happy medium. And at this point, like we're not there yet.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm perfectly fine with them not going for it at that point because they were playing such bad offense that I don't care if they were passing the ball, I don't care if they were running the ball. I did not trust the Patriots to convert on 4th down in this game, and they showed that to us earlier on. But big shout out to Paula, who became a YouTube member earlier on today. Big shout out to Isaiah with the $10 donation, who says that turf has to be cursed with some type of voodoo magic. I mean, yeah, Patriots players going down, Bengals players going down. Marco Wilson, former New England Patriots cornerback, went down early in the game, didn't return. T. Higgins on one of the final plays of the game obviously goes down, hit his head pretty hard, and so he was out. It was just an injury fest for both of these
Well,
teams.
thankfully, the next game is going to be at Gillette and not at the House of Horrors, MetLife.
Yeah, no, that's
you want
the bye week.
Yeah, you want to talk about like the worst place to play people that claims the most ACLs. Go look at MetLife's statistics. That is literally like the crappiest stadium to play in.
Yeah, Cincinnati's not known for this kind of stuff. So today was just a really, really weird game. Honestly,
everybody was getting hurt.
I blame it on? I blame it on the idiots in this Patriots media that thought, hey, let's make a storyline out of the Patriots are avoiding the injury bug. Patriots have great injury luck.
It's like, way to
you gotta be so stupid to say those words because you know damn well that voodoo curse about to come out and we were gonna get injured. That's like saying the words, well, it couldn't possibly get any worse. You know, once you say those words, it's going to get 10 times worse. So why was anybody in this media going out there talking about how great the Patriots injury luck has been? Honestly, I don't blame anybody. I don't blame the New England Patriots organization. I blame the idiots in the media that thought it was smart for them to say those words.
I'm really getting tired of Boston media because it's like they're so flippy floppy. Like, I guarantee there's going to be so many negative headlines. It's like, and I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of these damn media outlets that talk, they're casuals. It's Felger and Maz, two freaking imbeciles that talk behind a mic that get paid to do it and just literally spin fake storylines. I'm getting sick of just this BS I have to listen to on a weekly basis.
Hey, man, I get it. Big shout out to Neil, who's been a member now for 1 month. Big shout out to our guy who says, play calling issues in the red zone. Yeah, more specifically, they got down to the red zone multiple times. There was like 2 or 3 times they're at the 1 yard line.
We should have scored 40
on both times. Yeah, easily should have scored 30, 40 points in this game. No doubt about it. Halfback dive over and over, ain't going to work. Sloppy, a lot of injuries. Hope Will Campbell is fine, but I'll take a W with great defense. Hey, man, honestly, I wouldn't even say the defense was great, but we'll get into that when the time comes. But, you know, enough complimentary football for the Patriots to win the game. That's all that matters. Isaiah comes back in here with a $5 donation and says, yeah, I don't trust Lowe at all, especially with him possibly starting the next game and having to go against Burns. No way in hell. That is certainly scary, but I do think that Josh McDaniels will find strategic ways offensively to kind of help make him look better than in reality he might be. I think you'll see tight end stay into chip block. I think you'll see Ramondre Stevenson play a lot next week in his ability to block and just game plans to get the football out quickly. Josh McDaniels can scheme around these injuries, unlike Alex Van Pelt was just not able to do last year. But Rob, let's go ahead and let's get into each of these positions. And let's start off with, of course, the quarterback position, because Drake Maye looks like he was going to have the worst performance of his football career early on in this one. There was a point where he had a 10.1 or a 10.8 overall quarterback rating in this game. It was pretty rugged. He ultimately finishes the day going 22 of 35 for 294 yards, which is a new career high, 13.4 yards per throw, 1 touchdown, a pick 6, a sack, an overall rating of 87.1, and then 5 carries for 22 yards on the ground. What were your thoughts on Maye's performance today?
I mean, it was shaky, to say the least. I think it was... I mean, I feel like the whole damn team started off flat, like really flat, and just like that little mini bye kind of like, because you're so used to this, like, okay, yeah, we're going to get up Sunday. We're playing this, and is it like this routine? And then you disrupt that routine even just a little bit. And he looked flat. He wasn't making the right decisions. Obviously, Josh McDaniel sat him down after that interception, pulled him aside and was like, hey, listen, settle down. You got it. And that's really just the godsend that Josh McDaniels offers. Like the fact that this guy can get this guy to lock back in, clear his head, be like, hey, listen, it happens, whatever. Even some of his teammates after the pick six kind of slapped him in the helmet and be like, hey, listen, you're good. You're good. But yeah, you got to clean it up, man, because this is now how many weeks in a row that we've had a turnover out of him, which was at one point almost like unfathomable because you were on it was like 6-7 game streak of not throwing an interception or having a fumble or anything. So like, you just got to clean it up. I'm not really worried about it. Like I said, the real football starts on Thanksgiving. Like we are still trying to figure out what this team is going to be because now we have to adapt to another thing, which is the injury bug right now. And we'll see, man. At the end of the day, he played decent today, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, guys, by the way, 80 people watching live on YouTube, more watching on Twitter, but only 16 total likes. Make sure you guys throw up that like button, and let's try to get our like goal of 150 by the end of the stream. Hitting the like button helps support me tremendously here at Patriots Global. All the work that I put in here, all the work that Rob puts in here too. And so, honestly, best way to do so in supporting the channel, completely free, takes you less than a second. It's just by tapping that thumbs up because it really goes a long way into pushing this video and pushing this channel out into the YouTube algorithm. But when I look at Drake Maye, he just started off slow and sluggish, and he was missing wide open guys. He wasn't setting his feet. It was inaccurate pass after inaccurate pass, consistently throwing behind wide receivers like Matt Collins. And then the interception that he threw, they're between the 10 and 15-yard line, and you have Hunter Henry right up the seam. And we see Drake Maye make that throw every single week. He can do it in his sleep, but his feet were not set. He soars the ball over Hunter Henry's head. It goes right into the hands of the safety like they're playing backyard football, and he's able to run it, 10, 15 yards back into the end zone for the touchdown. And that was kind of just an easy one for him. After the interception, it kind of felt like it was, let's just run the football a little bit. Let's give Drake Maye some easy stuff. And once that started to happen, he started to calm down a little bit. But Drake Maye went from one of his best, if not his best game of his NFL career against the New York Jets last week to coming in here immediately and just looking like the footwork went to crap again. It was looking like the Drake Maye against the Raiders. And so it's good that they were able to calm him down and kind of get him back into being Drake Maye of 2025 instead of 2024. But I also think that the slow start that he had really set the tone for this game. It set the tone for the offense. It set the tone for the defense. And so when we're looking at the play calling and we're looking at just the lack of urgency and the lack of energy in this game on both sides of the football, I think it really all started with the fact that the Patriots started this game on offense first. Drake Maye went out there and put up an absolute stinker, and that kind of dictated what the energy, what the mindset was going to be for the rest of the game. He's the leader, and I'm not saying that you have to go out there and you have to drive down the field and get into the end zone with your first offensive drive every single week. But what I'm saying is you can't go out there and have the stinkers that he was having. You can't throw the pick six where you did. He put the football on the ground at one point, but nobody's talking about that. Thankfully, he recovered, but he still put the football on the ground. You can't have performances like that because you are the leader of this organization. And when you perform like that, it's going to have a trickle-down effect to the rest of your team.
It looks like Hunter Henry fell on that route too. So I didn't think Hunter Henry was going to get that football. I think it was going to be intercepted nonetheless. But it looks like there was a little bit of a miscommunication there, and Hunter Henry kind of tripped up on his own self. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'll find the silver lining in all this, man. We got to find out what this team could do from playing from behind. We didn't know, like, really if this team could come back down 10. They were down 10 to this Bengals team. That Bengals offense can move the football. Chase Brown had, 5 consecutive games over 100 yards but over the line of scrimmage. So, and I get it. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow not there, but this is still a potent offense for the Cincinnati Bengals. So I didn't mind. I feel like these type of wins that we get, you can hang your hat on the fact that they become more and more battle tested. Okay, the things that we were trying to come up with is like, how would they handle if they were down multiple scores to a team? And I don't care what anybody says as Cincinnati Bengals. Every team in the NFL is a professional football team, so anybody can be had. I mean, so being that we were able to recollect ourselves and come back in this game is really something if I had to pick a positive, that'd be it.
Yeah, and you can see Drake Maye's numbers here coming into this game. Drake Maye also had a 4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, which is pretty damn good. Something else that I noticed, though, when watching Drake Maye is that when he was struggling early on, and I don't know if this was on Drake Maye, I don't know if this was on Josh McDaniels, but it felt like they weren't playing to his strengths. It felt like early on, when you saw him in this game, Rob, he was in the pocket. He was a pocket passing quarterback. They didn't have him flush outside of the pocket. They didn't have him stepping up in the pocket. They didn't have him extending plays. They didn't have him moving. They didn't have quarterback design runs. It was, you're getting the snap, you're staying in the pocket, and you're throwing. And that pressure was getting to him even before the injuries, more specifically from the interior of the offensive line. Jared Wilson had some moments there before getting injured. Garrett Bradbury was really, really struggling in this game. And I wonder if that pressure was just getting to him a little bit early. But then when they started to flush him outside of the pocket, when he was stepping up into the pocket, when he was moving, which is what makes Drake Maye, that's when he started to get in his own rhythm and started to play better football. But obviously, you can see his stats here per next gen stats for each of his completions, his incompletions, and then, of course, where that interception was made. But look, Rob, my final question to you about Drake Maye is, do you think that this impacts either positively or negatively his chances at winning MVP?
I mean, why wouldn't it? I mean, Josh Allen had a stinker. People don't want to talk about Matt Stafford not really doing too hot the other game. I don't think it's going to be negative because it's not how it's. Their lasting impression is not going to be that pick six. It's going to be that third down where he converted to Stephon Diggs. It's going to be him having nearly 300 yards and getting a win down 10. I look at the end of the day, also losing offensive linemen and players throughout the game. If anything, I think this should strengthen his case. I know people are going to be like, oh, well, he threw a pick six. Well, after that pick, how did he respond? Did he hold his head down low? No, he responded, got a touchdown. I mean, converted several third downs with his freaking legs. Like, there's no clear MVP favorite right now, if I'm being blatantly honest. I think that I don't think this neither hurt or helped him.
Yeah, I agree. Early on, I was worried. Again, when you have like a 10.8 quarterback rating, it's like, oh, okay, he might throw for 150, a pick six, and like a 50 overall rating if we're lucky. That would hurt his chances. But he comes out here, he puts up a career high in passing yards. He gets the win at the end of the day with multiple offensive linemen out.
10-point comeback.
Injury. Obviously came back from 10 points too. And so with that being said, I don't think that this one is ultimately going to hurt him. Do I think it massively moved the needle the way that I was hoping he was going to do against the Bengals? No, I can't say it did, but I would still say that he is top 3 in the running, definitely guaranteed. But let's go ahead, Rob, and let's transition on over to these running backs. I want to know what your thoughts are because it was another stinker for them. And look, the Bengals have the worst defense in the NFL. Their coverage unit is one of the worst, but they are the worst run defending unit in the National Football League. Again, I want to say no Trey Hendrickson, but Travion Henderson goes 18 carries, 66 yards, 3.7 yards per carry. And then Ramondre Stevenson goes 6 carries, 5 yards, 0.8 yards per carry. Terrell Jennings goes 1 carry with absolutely nothing. What were your thoughts on this rushing attack?
I don't even think so much it was the rushing attacks as it was the vanilla play calling. Like, there's only so many times you want to beat your head against the wall before you figure out that it's not going to work. And running the ball up the damn middle so many times. I mean, I really liked that shovel pass to Hunter Henry that got us down to the 1. But
the middle.
Yeah, I get that. But be a little bit more creative about how you scheme up these runs, because running up the damn middle 100 times and expecting a different outcome is, like I said, my wife looked at the screen. She's like, why do they continue to run the same crap and expecting a different outcome? I was like, baby, because sometimes it's that one time that they don't see it and they run up for 20 yards. She's like, well, that's once every 3 years. And I'm like, well, yeah, I can't disagree with that. So, yeah, I don't get it. I feel like how we're scheming up how we run the football, I think that we could do a better job. I don't think it's so much the running backs as it is how we're scheming up the play calling.
I wonder if they were also just worried about the tackles because Morgan Moses went out at one point. And so then you had, two, I don't want to say 2 rookies, but you had one rookie on the outside for right tackle until Morgan Moses came back, and then you have Badarian Lowe, who obviously is a backup in the NFL for a reason. And so I do wonder if that worries them, because when they're running the ball to the outside, they're almost always, I mean, they're primarily running it to the left side with Jared Wilson and Will Campbell both out of the game. I wonder if that also created some concern for them. But I do agree. I think the play calls could have been better. I liked the end around to Pop Douglas. I kind of wish we saw a little bit more not miscommunications, but misdirection plays like that with Pop and Kyle Williams. Try to get those guys into space a little bit. But obviously, too, with your offensive linemen going down, you're gonna have issues running the football efficiently and effectively throughout the game. And so I think that was another part to it. But I think what the Patriots wanted is they want this thunder and lightning mix. They want that thunder in Ramondre Stevenson. They want the lightning in TreVeyon Henderson. And right now they just don't have it. I've been somebody that has screamed the idea that I don't think TreVeyon Henderson is a lead back. And I completely stand by that fact. But I do think, unfortunately, you are going to have to make him your lead back moving forward. Unless Ramondre Stevenson shows you he can get back into form, I think you have to make TreVeyon Henderson your lead back, because is he going to stiff arm 5 guys and run through 3 guys? No, that's not his game. But he has so much speed that he can at very least hit the gap so quick that he's going to be able to not maybe run through a couple defenders, but he's going to run past a couple of defenders. Because you look at Ramondre Stevenson, his game is built upon putting his shoulders down and running through a brick wall, getting those tough yards. What did he do today? Nothing. As soon as there was contact, he was going down. He couldn't punch it in at the 1 yard line. He couldn't get the Patriots, even 5 yards at times. His longest run today was 3 yards. And I'm sure part of that is, look, first game back in a couple of weeks. He's still coming back from a lingering toe injury. That's certainly part of it. But when you're expecting him to be that guy that gets you those tough yardage, and he's going to be your red zone back, and he performs this way, I trust TreVeyon Henderson more in those situations right now, more than Ramondre Stevenson. I mean, even Terrell Jennings, he's supposed to be that hard-nosed, run-through-a-brick wall running back too. He got 1 carry in the red zone, and he also could do nothing. And so what are your thoughts about just kind of the usage here amongst these running backs?
I mean, look, Ramondre Stevenson's fresh off a toe turf injury, so I don't know how I feel about him. He didn't look like he had any burst. So why are we so, I guess, not dedicated? What's the word I'm looking for? Why are we so set to okay, Ramondre Stevenson's the starting running back. We have to make sure he gets these touches or whatever it may be. No, you go with, in the years past, you would go with the hot hand. Go with what has been working. And while Ramondre Stevenson was out, Henderson was going off. So why not utilize him, or, like you said, Jennings, in those short yardage situations? Look, at the end of the day, I watched the game. Ramondre didn't look like he had any burst. And that might be just him shaking off some rust. He hasn't played in a month. But it was third and goal. We ran it up halfback dive. Then we ran it looked like they had Ramondre in motion, came back and basically run another halfback dive. I don't know. I think that I would probably have gone with the hot hand and Henderson and maybe changed it up. But like I said, that was probably so much offensive play calling that really made it look worse than it is. I don't think that we were terrible. It definitely needs to improve, though.
I mean, look, TreVeyon Henderson over the last 2 weeks heading into this game, actually in 5 days, because that Patriots played 2 games in a 5-day period.
5 touchdowns.
He has 5 touchdowns, right? So he's someone who can work in the red zone. And so if you're struggling there, give him a carry, see what happens. If it doesn't work out, then guess what? He joins a running back committee of Ramondre Stevenson and Terrell Jennings that are also not getting it done. But what are you losing by at least giving him an opportunity in that case?
And you go and look at the other rookie running backs that have had played this year. Coming into this week, Henderson was only trailing Genty by 2 touchdowns, and he's only started 2 games. So what he was doing was pretty special. But going back to that real quick, just hit on this real quick. Drake Maye is actually still the favorite. Or he's back to being the favorite of plus 130, plus 135 for Matthew Stafford, I get he had 2 touchdowns, but he had a stinker as far as completion percentage and yards. He had 53.6 and 130 yards, and Jonathan Taylor ran for only 58 yards. Those are the other 2 people that are after him. So it just really kind of depends on how the Bucs games goes tonight. that will maybe make the gap a little bit more for Drake Maye.
Well, I don't know. They let Josh Allen look like a superstar, so hopefully they don't do that this week. But only time's going to tell. And I see this comment where it's like, well, you can't blame Ramondre. It's the offensive line, and the offensive line is 100% part of it. Like we can't discredit that, but it's more so the fact that if you look at Ramondre, like Rob alluded to,
I'm not blaming him. I'm not blaming him.
There's no burst. He's not shaking off tackles. He's not pushing the pile. He's just, as soon as he's being contacted, he's going down. And that's not the type of running back he is. If you want to be that type of running back where as soon as you're contacted, you're going down, you have to be able to have speed to your game like a Travion Henderson. But if you're a more slow, sluggish running back that's known for running through a brick wall and getting tough yardage, but you're going down as soon as contact is presented, then what's your bread and butter? Where do you succeed?
I think
that's kind of my concern.
I wasn't really so much blaming him as I was saying that, like, hey, listen, he's coming off a significant injury where he's missed a month. I don't trust him right now because of his injury to have that burst. It's not me blaming him. It's just calling a spade a spade.
Yeah, certainly fair. Shout out to Kyle, who comes in with a $5 donation and says, going to have bad series and bad games. We won. Cool. More worried about the offensive line now. Got to remember Drake Maye's in his second year. Brady wasn't Brady till year 7. Kyle, I 100% agree with you. Like, if the injuries didn't showcase themselves today, and it was just Drake Maye sucked in the first quarter, got better as time went on. This was a close game. We should have blown him out, but we didn't. Kind of like that Saints game. I would have said, you know what? It is what it is. Football is any given week. We won, and that's quite literally all that matters. But it's the fact that we looked the way we did. I think it was a complimentary bad game between the injuries, between the players, between the play calling, between the situational football. Like, all of it was bad. And I think that's what's more concerning for me as I look at this team from a wide range moving forward and not just solely looking at this game in a bottle.
I just think that our players came out flat and they look drained, and it's just like we just need to make it to the damn bye week. Because albeit a mini bye, whatever it is, but it's still like they're not actually like resting. So yeah, we just need to get to that damn bye.
Well, I'll be honest too. I'm a little bit worried because if this is how you performed on a mini bye week, I'm a little bit worried. Like, when this team does come out of the bye week, are they going to be a team that uses the bye week the way it's supposed to be utilized, and you get healthier and you have time to prepare and you have time to relax, get your mind right for the rest of the season? Or is this going to be like it was in 2021 where you're hot, you go into the bye week, you come out of the bye week, and that bye week allowed you to go in off-season mode, and now you just don't have football in your DNA. You're not motivated anymore, and then the team sucks for the rest of the season instead of being the team that we've seen all year long. For me, the real test for New England is going to come after that bye week.
Yeah, really the Buffalo Bills right now. The Buffalo Bills.
That's going to determine the AFC East. Like, point blank, that's going to determine the East.
So, you think that particular game is going to determine the East?
I think that when I look at that game, I say if Buffalo wins that game, I'm not going to tell you they're going to win it, but I think they're definitely going to be in it until the end. If New England wins that game, I think they secured the AFC East.
I'm going to be honest with you. Like, the Buffalo Bills are very Jekyll and Hyde right now, and they still have the Pittsburgh Steelers. They still have the Philadelphia Eagles. Look, man, there's a chance that the Buffalo Bills don't even make the playoffs. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but like and you go look at the Ravens after that. The Cleveland Browns almost beat them. The AFC and the AFC East is so wide open. Well, like, not so much the AFC East, but we're winning the AFC East. I will put my damn life savings on it. We're gonna win it. I think that like all these games and what's happening is just gonna make us battle tested. I think we will give, because of how important that matchup is, even if we just so happen to get another win again this week, next week. I mean, regardless, the Buffalo Bills are going to get our best punch because Stephon Diggs is going to have something to play for, especially with wanting to give that knockout blow to them. And who's saying that like the Buffalo Bills next week have an easy win? Who the hell do the Buffalo Bills got next week?
I don't know. I just look at the Bills and I'm like, yeah,
they don't scare nobody. They don't scare me.
But the thing about Buffalo is like they'll win a game confidently and put up like 40 points against a team that you're like they could lose against them. That's a good team, and then they'll go out and high, bro, like Houston and the Dolphins, and then lose. And so As wild as it sounds, because I know it does sound crazy, it feels like the Bills are playing better football against good teams, and then against mid to bad teams, they play bad football. And so, like you said, Jekyll and Hyde, I'm not really sure what
They got the Steelers next. So, like,
I'm taking Buffalo for that one.
Are you?
Dude,
I don't know.
Pittsburgh is so bad, bro. They're not good.
And Josh Allen has been bad. He's turned into
worse. Like Pittsburgh is like that. Like, you want to put money on something? I'm telling you right now, Pittsburgh's not making the playoffs. Like
I'm not saying they will.
Them early on, but they're not making the playoffs. They're not even going to win the division. It's going to be the Ravens. The Ravens are going to win that division. They're going to get into the playoffs, and the Steelers are going to miss it. Aaron Rodgers is playing terrible. They're not playing complimentary football. Yeah, early on in the season, and now they're coming back down to earth.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think that like this Bills team is so Jekyll and Hyde, and Josh Allen is trying to play too much hero ball.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean,
what was it? There was like a tight end in the flat that he could have thrown the ball to, and he wound up throwing it to Kincaid.
He had Kincaid wide open, and he didn't take it. But guys, still only 29 likes, and we got. Let's see, how much do we have? We have over 100 people. We have 122 people watching total. So make sure you guys hit that like button. The channel, man. Only 29 likes is crazy. If you guys want more Patriots content, post-game shows, live watch parties, and everything in between with live updates, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to let us know that you guys want to see more. Helps support the channel tremendously. Cannot express that enough to you guys. So let's go ahead and let's transition on into these wide receivers. Hunter Henry is your leading wide receiver today. 10 targets, 7 receptions, 115 yards, and a touchdown. Austin Hooper is your second leading receiver. 4 targets, 3 receptions, 39 yards. It really felt like, especially when we talk about the turnaround for Drake Maye in this game, it came with running a lot more 12 personnel. They said, ignore the wide receivers. Hit your big body, tight ends with the large catch radius up the middle. Hitting Hunter Henry, hitting Austin Hooper, to allow Drake Maye to calm himself down and get back into this game was big for the overall turnaround of the offense. Demario Douglas was third for the Patriots in receiving yards, was only targeted one time, but it was that big play down the field of 37 yards. Matt Collins, honestly, I don't really put too much of this on Matt Collins. I really put more of this on Drake Maye because I felt like every time he was going to Matt Collins, it was 5 yards behind him. Matt Collins and Drake Maye are usually always on the same page. I'm not sure what's happened over the last 2 weeks where suddenly it feels like maybe those guys are a little bit off, but Hollins targeted 6 times, only 2 receptions for 30 yards. Diggs with a big-time conversion, but he finishes with 3 targets, 2 receptions, 20 yards. Kyle Williams, we finally saw him back in the mix a little bit since that Tampa game. 1 target, 1 reception, 18 yards, where he turned on the burners a little bit to convert for the Patriots there on first down. And then Kayshon Boutte, who I thought was an unsung hero today, 2 targets, 2 receptions, 15 yards, but he did dictate 2 defensive pass interference calls that were big, deep calls down the field, which helped the Patriots big time because keep in mind, although that wasn't a catch by Kayshon Boutte, it doesn't light up the stat sheet. Those defensive pass interference calls ultimately get placed at the spot of the foul, so that's just as good as a catch at the end of the day. So while statistically, maybe it doesn't light up the stat sheet, Kayshon Boutte was still out there making plays. But what were your thoughts on these receivers today, Rob?
They did all right. I mean, like you said, Mr. or the duo of reliability. Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry were integral parts of last year's offense, so it kind of makes sense as to why that he would go to those two when in times of need. Stephon Diggs has been his guy to throw the ball when he needs a clutch reception. Pop Douglas obviously getting a pretty damn good reception himself. I mean, Hollins draw to pass interference. He caught the ball on that, got a couple more yards, obviously. Not really a gaudy number game, but they it's just kind of like distributed.
Yeah, and I mean, we know that Drake Maye.
That's just what this offense is. That's what
somebody did in college too, right? Drake Maye was known for distributing the football.
Exactly. That's what this offense is. There's not like one true one wide receiver one. Like a lot of people say, oh, Stephon Diggs or it's Kayshon Boutte. No, this team doesn't truly have a wide receiver one. This team is just like an amoeba offense in terms of like, okay, this guy might have a good night, and this guy, it just doesn't matter. Like whoever gets off, gets off.
Yeah, and you had 4 wide receivers, or rather 4 players on this offense make what is considered a big-time play, which is 20-plus yards, down the field.
Oh, we were getting chunk plays.
Hunter Henry had a 28-yarder. Hooper had a 21-yarder. Douglas had a 37-yarder. Matt Collins had a 24-yarder. Kyle Williams had that 18-yarder, so just shy of 20. And so, they had splash plays as the game went on. And like I said, if Kayshon Boutte's not being held, he's making those plays 10 out of
Probably
10
getting a
times in his
touchdown.
sleep. But again, because of those DPI calls, it technically counted for the Patriots as a catch anyway. And so, again, I think you want more from your wide receivers moving forward. But Drake Maye said, if my wide receivers aren't going to make plays, or if I'm just not on the same page as them this week, I'm going to go to the guys that I am on the same page as, and I know they're going to catch everything thrown their way. And that's the veteran tight ends in Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper. So major shout out to them. Rob, any kind of last thoughts here about this offense and how they performed today?
Hey, look, at the end of the day, it's like whatever works. If it's a tight ends, it's tight ends. If it's run, I just think that should make NFL or Patriots fans happy. The fact that we can have such a versatile offense, because not all offenses have this type of versatility, people, where we can have a running backs go off and Travion Henderson against the Jets, or our tight ends go off today, or our wide receivers go off against the Bills. It's just like every other week, a group of tight ends, wide receivers, or running backs can go off at any given time.
Exactly. And like I said earlier, Drake Maye was known in college for spreading the football out. He's not going to hone in on one specific player, one specific position. He's just going to throw the football to guys that are open, right? Just like when he was asked about Stephon Diggs, is that a guy you feel like you got to force feed the ball to? And he was like, dude, if he's open, I'm going to throw him the football. And that's the mentality that you need if you're going to be a successful offense week in and week out. But Rob, let's go ahead and let's transition on into the defense. But before we do that, real quick, do want to give a massive shout out to the sponsors of the video. Those are our good friends over at Kalshi. Right now, when talking about the AFC East, like Rob and I were talking about earlier, the New England Patriots are the current favorites, with 78% of people, according to Kalshi, taking the Patriots to win the division. It looked like there was a steep decline there for a little while, kind of around that mid to late October. But then the Patriots, as of November, are just going up and up and up, with 21% of people taking the Buffalo Bills to win the AFC East. They have taken a pretty steep decline, as you can imagine. More specifically here, on November 23rd, those odds have shifted to 80.9% New England, 18.6% Buffalo after their loss to the Houston Texans. Big shout out to Kalshi. They're not a sports book. They're the best damn trades market on the platform. Favorite thing about Kalshi is you are not playing against Kalshi. You are playing against real people with their own real thoughts and opinions on these lines. Kalshi is available in every single state. And if you're wrong on your take, Kalshi will not make a single cent off you. To be completely blunt with you guys, I've made more money on Kalshi than any other sports book in any given year. And the cool part is that Kalshi doesn't just have divisional winners. They don't just have win totals for teams. They don't just have they don't have the odds on the games every single week, but they also have cool things such as celebrities, politics, entertainment. They also have odds such as, do you think it's going to rain tomorrow? All that and so much more with Kalshi. Make sure you guys go ahead and check them out. Pin right now into the live chat. Make sure you download their mobile app on iOS or Android, or just go to their website. Remember that supporting the sponsors that support the channel supports us massively here at Patriots Global. Simply could not be here without them. But Rob, I want to get your thoughts here on this defense, and I do want to start off more specifically with the run defense, because the narrative around the New England Patriots run defense that is second best in the NFL this season is that they are the best since 1970, have not allowed a running back to go for 50 or more yards on them. Then against Tampa 2 weeks ago, Tucker goes for 53. Then this week, you allowed Chase Brown to be the first running back to go for 100 plus on the Patriots, going 19 attempts, 107 yards, 5.6 yards per run, with a long run of 21 yards. What are your thoughts on this run defense, and are you concerned?
I am concerned, because Milton Williams, showing how invaluable Milton Williams is, who was what third according to being able to rush the passer, and probably one of the best, if not the best, against the run. Like he has fulfilled that contract already, like at least in the first year of it. So it goes to show you that he was a huge loss, because Tonga was getting burned. Christian Barmore didn't quite get to them, and Chase Brown was basically running all over us. So it just goes to show you how valuable Milton Williams truly is.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, Kyrie's Tonga, I do think, did take a step back this week compared to what we have seen in previous weeks. And I think that's in large part because Kyrie's Tonga is that rotational piece, right? He's best when he's playing 15, maybe 20 snaps maximum absolute a game. He's not best when you're asking him to play in a larger role because that motor is just not going to be as hot throughout the game. There were times that he was getting pushed back rather than being a true dominant force, both against the run and from a pass rush standpoint. When you go back and you look at some of the highlight reels or highlight plays that Milton Williams has made this season, a lot of them come with him being the first defender in the backfield when stopping the run, which allows everybody else to be in a position where they can go ahead and also make plays on the ball carrier and kind of help out Milton Williams. Right now, we don't have that one guy that is consistently the first one to the ball carrier. I think that's what hurt the Patriots in this game. I mean, the fact that there was a point, I believe it was on that final offensive drive for Cincinnati, where they were in like a 4th and 1, 4th and 2 situation. They had one timeout left, and it was like a minute or just under a minute. And I said, they're going to run the ball here because they know that they can have their way in the run game, and then they're going to utilize that timeout. What happens? They don't pass the football. They run the ball. They get like 5 yards on the run with Chase Brown. They get the first down, and then they take the timeout. They knew that they could do whatever they wanted against the Patriots defense today when they ran the football. And that's just not been the Patriots' motive really all year long. This team needs to get back to their ways at stopping running backs, because when you stop the running game, you are now forcing opposing offenses to beat you through the air. And you've devoted a lot of money into your pass rush. You've devoted a lot of money into your secondary to trust those guys to go out there and win in a passing attack, in a passing matchup. But if you allow them to run the football, now it becomes a lot more difficult to be able to defend the pass, because teams are going to run the ball in order to open up the pass. They're going to really open up the RPO game too, which makes things a lot more difficult for the defense to be able to diagnose and make plays on the football. And so I think if you look at that Buffalo Bills game a few weeks ago, the Patriots won that game because they stopped James Cook, because they forced Josh Allen to beat them through the air, and that's the recipe to win. But if in a couple of weeks, this is what the run defense looks like, and you play Josh Allen, I don't feel great about that game, because that is where a team like Buffalo thrives, where they can run the football enough to open up the passing game. And that's how this defense succeeds. Again, stopping the run, forcing opposing offenses to beat you through the air. So, look, I was disappointed. The Bengals rushing attack isn't very good offensively, but Chase Brown is a good running back. He's gotten some momentum over the last few weeks, but this is still a game, given the depth that you have at defensive tackle, to where even though you are missing Milton Williams, you still got Barmore. You still got Tonga. You got Durden, who's been a dog. You got Robert Spillane and company at linebacker.
Swinson.
Obviously, Jelani Tabai didn't play too, and you promoted Swinson today. So it should have been better ultimately than what we saw. So I was disappointed from it. But moving on to the passing attack, Joe Flacco looks good at moments, but a lot of inconsistencies, especially on that final drive where it felt like every time he passed the football, it was just a beautiful textbook pass deflection by a Patriots defensive back. Joe Flacco finishes going 19 of 37 for 183 yards, 9.6 yards per throw, a touchdown, an interception, sacked one time, and an overall rating of 63.2. What were your thoughts on the Patriots secondary today?
I mean, for the most part, they kept him in check. Like, we just left points on the board. This game really could have been a lot more uglier than it looks. Like, it wasn't a 26-20 game. He made the plays in the crucial moments. That's really all that matters. Football is a game of inches, and he really just capitalized on the plays that he had to capitalize on. I mean, like that throw to, was it Twinsley? I don't know his damn name. It doesn't matter. He beat Gonzo, the guy I'm wearing his jersey right now. He beat him. It's supposed to be one of the best corners, if not the best cornerback in football. You can't have that. You just really can't have that. Carlton Davis was in his freaking bag all game, outside of that one pass interference call. But like, Davis looked like the better corner today, and I mean, Marcus Jones was in his bag as well. So, like, our secondary was doing his thing. It's just really it really was just our run game, like our run defense.
Yeah, no, I agree. There were some moments that the defensive backs were getting cooked, like that Gonzo touchdown that he allowed to, like, Cincinnati's wide receiver 5. But
like, what the hell is his last name? Twinsley? It doesn't matter what his name is. It's Christian freaking Gonzalez. You're getting burned by some bum.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you have a lack of pass rush, sometimes that's going to happen in the secondary. But just looking at the early on numbers real quick, Carlton Davis had 3 pass defenses today. And then Marcus Jones had 2. And so both of those guys really did their jobs, especially when it did matter most. Carlton Davis had that defensive pass interference call, but other than that, I thought he played a really good game today, and he certainly stepped up. Marcus Jones, when the Patriots needed a play, made a play, gave them the lead. Honestly, like, not taking anything away from Marcus Jones, I'm not really sure what Joe Flacco was doing. He has the check down. He sees the check down, moves on from the check down. Marcus Jones sees the running back, starts closing in on him to take away that option from Flacco. Flacco sees nothing down the field, looks back to his check down option, then throws the ball while Marcus Jones is closing in on him. And it's just an easy pick for Jones, who then takes it to the house. So good job on him for taking advantage of bad football. Not exactly sure what Flacco was thinking.
It was so predictable. I literally looked at my wife as Marcus Jones was closing. I was like, this is about to be a pick 6. And it happened. I'm like, he made it look so obvious where he was going with the ball. He made it look so obvious. Like, dude, you're a veteran. And he basically, I mean, Chase Brown was wide open, so I expected him to throw it there. And Marcus Jones, with his closing speed, obviously one of the best at closing on defenders, offensive players, took one to the house.
Yeah, I also think that the pass rush could have been better. There were times they got there, and there were times that they just didn't secure the sack. Like, Joe Flacco isn't going to move around a lot in the pocket. He's not mobile. He's not going to run for it. You know, you had, who was it? So you had Landry with the sack today, but it was Chason. Yes, it was Caleb on Chason, who should have had that sack early on in the game, and then just gets shaken off by Joe Flacco. And
I think it was also in the fourth quarter. Chason got in the backfield. I believe it ultimately ended up in a sack. I think, was it Landry or whoever else? Might have been, I don't forget who it was. But just, it goes to show you that we had the opportunity for Chason to make him lose a lot more yards.
Yeah, they should have gotten to Flacco a lot more than they did. I mean, at the end of the day, this is not a good offensive line for Cincinnati either, and you have a very inept quarterback when it comes to mobility for Cincinnati. The fact that the Patriots only got 1 sack was disappointing for me. Now, pressure is what matters the most. It's not necessarily sacks, but even with pressure, it just felt very inconsistent. And then even in terms of just like going back to the run game here real quick, there was only 1 tackle for loss today amongst these Patriots defenders, and that was Harold Landry.
Spillane. It wasn't Spillane?
It was Landry. It was Landry. Yeah, Landry had 4 tackles today, 3 solo, 1 tackle for loss, and 1 sack. So
why do I feel like Spillane helped with that play? Because I remember Spillane was in the backfield and helped Landry secure that tackle.
They might have just not awarded it to him, but Robert Spillane finished the day with just 5 total tackles. But look, 1 tackle for loss on the day. It's not going to be good enough. It's not going to be good enough when you're playing a team like the Ravens in a few weeks, when you're playing a team like the Bills in a few weeks, and they have a good offensive line and good running backs. You're going to have to do a lot better. So, like I said, some room for concern, but from my own personal opinion, 1 game is not reason for concern, right? If we're getting into 2-3 games where this is all happening, now we start to hit the panic button. But sometimes it's any given week, and sometimes things like this certainly do happen. So let's go ahead and let's transition on into the Cowboys just won. No way.
Who they beat?
Because they were behind Philadelphia. Ain't no way.
And the Chiefs won today. I'm curious how that went.
Well, let's go ahead and let's transition on into these Patreon members before we log on off for the day. DTN, what's going on, man?
What up, boys? That was a wasted birthday gift. I thought DTN, that.
Man, I'm sorry.
Well,
poor guy.
Thankfully I did celebrate my 21st birthday, so thankfully I didn't get drunk or anything.
21st, so. Jesus, young.
Well, yeah, but this is normally I would shit talk on other fan bases. I'm gonna actually do something completely different. And yes, I will get to my musket men and misfires, but I want to talk about this media BS and how this Boston media is just making it more miserable for me. Like, there is reason why 98.5 CBS Sports Boston and NBC Sports Boston have just lost me completely. Like, why are there so much? I get it that they have to cover the team. And I love what Mike Vrabel said. Like, it doesn't mean shit when people want to focus on records, stats, numbers. But this is totally annoying at this point. And I'm sick and tired of 98.5, all of these radio hosts, all these podcasters and whatnot. And it's just
Cowboys
really,
came back and won.
Yeah, so
oh
that's
gosh,
crazy.
I never wanted the Wild Boys to win, but oh well. But yeah,
I'll take them over Philadelphia.
I'm just sick and tired
I
of
hope
this
they
media.
tied.
Also, do you know what I'm more frustrated with? Freaking ESPN. First take, that was that was just the stupidest take I've ever
No, see,
listened.
here's the thing, and here I hope Stephen A. would never watch this podcast or whatever we do here. Stephen A., you are the most egotistical piece of shit there is. Like, you are so full of yourself. These players, they on Fridays they are doing practice, they're doing recovery. Nobody knows what Cam Newton or the cat in the hat, what you want to call him. What he, by the way, Mr. 59% completion percentage for his career, Mr. 27th easiest schedule when on a Super Bowl run. I did a video on that, by the way.
Oh yeah, the same guy that had that fumble lost against the Broncos in Super Bowl 50.
So
there you go.
Cubic zirconium, middle of the mall. Like, your whole damn career is middle of the mall. Like, you did nothing. Your MVP season is fraudulent, which is why the next season you basically were 500. So besides the point, but get to your musket men and whatever.
Yeah, let's hear those winners and losers, DTM.
Well, for sure, and granted that Cam Newton did nothing for New England either, but I want to start off with my misfires this time and get to my musket men. I like to call it because this is the Patriots Mayflower voyage, and I have been taking over for you, Colby, since during the Jets week. I thought you would go live, but I took over for you with the Patriots content.
For obvious reasons, he wasn't live.
Yep, so I want to start off with my misfires. Baby. The biggest misfire, red zone offense. What the hell did I just watch with my very own eyes in the red zone? That has to be one of the most putrid red offenses I have ever watched, especially when you're at fourth down. Why not go for a tush push? Or just go, because you were in the Cincinnati 1 yard line, you could have gone for it. Or maybe, you should have called with something creative. And I want to say the play calling was just questionable at the red zone too, because red zone, this has to be worked on as we prepare for Monday Night Football against the Giants. My second loser, it has to be Chason. I get it that Chason hasn't been the best as of late, but that defensive offside penalty, oh my gosh, we forced him to go 4-1. We could have got the ball back, but no, Chason made that stupid defensive offside penalty that really frustrated me. So it would have been nice if Chason bounced back, but no, that's not the case. And unfortunately, my last misfire, the run defense. That has to be one of the worst performances. But then again, it did not help that Milton Williams is currently on IR. And Braden Swinton, I did not see much presence in him. And so this is actually the first time we allowed a running back to go above 100 yards. If it continues when you go up against Singletary or Tyrone Tracy, then we got a problem. Because when you look at the rest of the schedule after the bye, if Milton Williams is not healthy, you got to look at this. James Cook, you got Derrick Henry, you got Breece Hall again, and then you got Devin Achane again. So basically, if you continue, the fact that if it's going to continue hurting them, then there's going to be some questions raising about this number one run defense that we have been doing so well for the past 11 weeks. But
so FYI, it is 4 games, not 4 weeks, people. So Milton Williams will not be eligible to come back until he has played until 4 games have gone by. So that bye week doesn't count.
He's out versus the Bills and the Ravens. Soon as he can come back is week 17 on the road at MetLife against the Jets.
Which more than likely he probably won't play too much in those games if he does come back.
Yeah,
I mean, but at least at least 5 weeks though. You know what I'm saying? At least that's 5 weeks for him to get healthy. The average time for that injury is about 4 to 6 weeks. Is for the high ankle sprain.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Oh, injuries! Don't get me started with injuries. I think that has to be one of the most painful. This is more like a hospital bowl for the Patriots, because the fact that you lost majority of the left side of your offensive line. You lost Brent. I think
Majority.
Brendan scored.
We lost the whole offensive line on the left side. Not majority.
And,
We did.
yes, and then we lost Brendan Schooler. We lost Kairos Tonga. This is not looking. And it feels like the fact that Jared Wilson is in a cane and a boot, that is actually kind of concerning. But I think Brent Brown has been serviceable. But I do not want another week of Vidarian blows, the guy that I wanted off my team after what he did last week. But yeah, let me get to my musket men. So my musket man has to be Hunter Henry. Granted that target that was intended him turning out to be a pick six, at least he had bounced back, getting 100 receiving yard game and a touchdown. At least he bounced back. So I would give Hunter Henry my props. And then my second winner being Marcus Jones. What have I tell you about Marcus Jones against the Cincinnati Bengals? It's like he's like a kryptonite for the Cincinnati Bengals. When you think about this, history. He was the same guy who had that fumble recovery against Joe Burrow week 1 against the Bengals in the 2024 season. And then before that, he had 2 picks onto Joe Burrow, one of them being a pick 6. But unfortunately, he got injured after the second interception. But would you guys agree that Marcus Jones is a kryptonite for the Cincinnati Bengals?
I mean, based off what you're saying, it's kind of, self-explanatory now at that point, isn't it? Because every time he versus Cincinnati Bengals, it seems like he makes a play.
Yeah, for sure. And my third winner has to be Andres Bergales. The fact that he at least is scoring points for us when the offense did next to nothing after that Hunter Henry touchdown, I feel like he's giving us these 3 points that mean something, because I would have been really pissed if he were to miss all of these field goals. So I'm really thankful for him scoring these points.
Mr. Reliable.
Yes, Mr. Reliable. Sorry, Nick Folk, but you're stuck with the Jets. So, but yeah, Colby, it's been a while since we haven't done these like call-ins consistently, and I want to hear more like Patreon callers there rather than just me, which is why, for those who don't know, I created my own channel, Patriots Clubhouse. We do these preview shows every week, and post-game shows almost every week. Granted, I always keep an eye on my school schedule. So if you guys really want to join me, please join the Patriots Clubhouse YouTube
School
channel.
First,
and also we have our own Discord server. So like if you want to learn about like, here's some like post-game recaps from me, pre-game shows, and even some draft analysis, because for some reason I'm doing my due diligence on my draft, because obviously based off of injuries, performances, I always want to see.
Brother. Way too early.
TN is not believing in the Patriots, man. What up with that? No, man, I'm just kidding, man. Shout out to TN for calling in and being a Patreon member. As always, we appreciate him. But Rob, just moving forward here, New England Patriots play now Monday, so they got a little bit of extra preparation, not much, but they got a little bit of extra preparation for the Giants.
Man, coach.
They obviously played this team the final preseason game just a few months ago, and they ultimately did end up losing. So they do have some experience with Jackson Dart. Cam Scatterbo obviously will not be there, and so they've obviously been missing a big factor without him in the game. And so that's going to be another true test for the Patriots. But Rob, any last thoughts before we wrap this up?
Hey, give me about 100K. I'll go try to do something for the football team. I'll fill up those damn Gatorade bottles the best. Might be have some tequila on the sideline, but gotta do something. Gotta change it up. But yeah, as far as this team goes, man, like Maye needs to clean up the turnovers. We need to figure out how to get the run defense going and in a better direction, because obviously, was it 53 yards to forget which running back it was, and then 58 last week, and then 100 plus this week. So it's getting worse and worse. Got to find out, maybe change it up. Maybe Braden Swinson, you obviously elevated him to the active roster. Maybe see if he can do something, because who knows where Kairos Tonga's health is at right now, and he's obviously an integral part of this defense.
I absolutely agree. Well, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button because I'm going to have you updated and notified for all these injury updates that we get. So when we hear something about Will Campbell, Jared Wilson, all of these things that we should hear about tomorrow, we'll make sure to either do a video or a short or a live stream to update you guys. On the way out, please make sure you guys hit that big thumbs up button because it helps support the channel tremendously. I mean, I can't even put into words how much it does help the channel when you guys hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you follow Rob on Instagram at Patriots7, as you see his handle right down there below his little icon. So until next time, we appreciate you guys so much for watching. And of course, never forget, go Pats.